So we already know that 2024 is going to be one of the most difficult years we have faced in decades. And that is troubling, especially since we just went through a pandemic that lasted 3 years. We saw lockdowns, we saw mask mandates, schools closed, businesses shut down, people lost their jobs, and people lost their lives. That is troubling. But now, according to reports and experts, they are telling us 2024 could be even worse than what we just experienced. That's why I want to give you this warning. And that's why some are saying we need to prepare for domestic terrorism and political violence right here in the United States. So I'm going to break down what's going on. There was just a new survey that was released. I want to show you this because this is going to give you a better idea of what is coming in 2024. All I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So today is January 13th, 2024. We are less than 2 weeks into the new year, and we've already seen the United States attack the Yemen Houthis. We've seen Hezbollah threaten the United States with potential terrorist attacks right here on U.S. soil. We see migrants coming in through the U.S. southern border in just record numbers, and these things don't stop. And that's not even talking about what happened earlier today, where Taiwan had a presidential election. The DPP ended up winning, which now there are increased tensions between Taiwan and China, which means the United States could be pulled into that battle as well. Again, a lot of problems. But I was reading this article just this morning. Let me show you this. It says, in this turbulent year, peace has to start at home for the United States. Now, I want to read you just a little bit of this article, and then I want to show you the report, the survey. Look at this. It says, with so much of the world already racked by violent conflicts, it is hard to imagine that things could get any worse this year. But that is precisely what many American foreign policy experts fear will happen, according to an annual survey conducted by the Council on Foreign Relations. It says, for the first time since the survey began 16 years ago, 3 of the 30 conflict-related risks that respondents were asked to assess were judged to be both highly threatening to U.S. interests and highly likely to occur over the next 12 months. Now, I want to show you this, okay? Because these are the conflicts right here. These are the top conflicts to watch in 2024. You can see all of them. There's none down here in Australia. So there's 3 in the United States, okay? But again, these are 3 in the United States. There's some also abroad. But these 3 here are tier 1 high priority, okay? Now I want to show you what those are, okay? And here's the tier list right here. Let me just show you this. Okay, so this is tier 1 right here. And you can see in the United States, it's A, C, and G. Let's go through them. This is the first one. All right, here. A is growing political polarization in the United States, particularly around the 2024 presidential election, leads to acts of domestic terrorism and political violence. That is what we're hearing. Okay? This is a survey. But it's a tier 1. The likelihood is high. Impact is very high as well. So when we look at this is the problem. They're saying that this is most likely to happen within the next 12 months. An election's going to happen in 9 months. Okay? So when this happens, again, this is the troubling part. They are saying that it's going to be domestic terrorism and political violence. Now, why would we even see any of that? Well, the presidential election. But there's also increased tensions as well. Okay? Let's go back to this tier 1 list. It says right here in letter C, a surge in migration to the southwest border of the United States driven by criminal violence, corruption, and economic hardship in Central America and Mexico. Yes, we are seeing economic hardship in those countries. But here's the other problem. People are coming into the United States expecting a handout, expecting free shelter, free food, free health care. Now, some are getting it, some aren't. So guess what? This comes back to that that violence, not political violence. Okay, it's going to be economic violence. And I talked about this just the other day, and I said that in Chicago, because of the cold weather that we are currently experiencing here in the United States, what is happening is the city is not evicting people from those shelters, because previously they said you had a 60-day stay, and after that you had to leave. Well, guess what? There's people at the door waiting to get into that shelter, because they know people are going to be coming out any day. But then the city says, you know what? It's too cold. We can't kick those people out. But what about those people that are waiting? Guess what? They are going to get frustrated. They'll be irate. They're going to turn violent, because they want to make sure they're going to be able to get inside, maybe with their kids, their family, and stay warm. Again, things are getting interesting right now, and this could potentially turn more violent. Let's get to the next one. This is letter G. It's over here. It says a highly disruptive cyber attack in U.S. critical infrastructure, or on U.S. critical infrastructure, including electrical systems by a state or non-state entity. Now, I brought this up before. One of the things that we have seen attacks on is our electrical system, our power grids. We've seen certain cyber attacks on hospitals and their systems. We saw some hospitals over in the Northeast. They had to relocate and get ambulances to take different routes to move people from their hospital to others, because they were seeing the cyber attack. They had to shut down the system. This is happening. Okay? This is a major, major issue. Now, there's a couple other ones that I want to discuss as well. Here's one, and this is B. All right? It's a protracted war between Hamas and Israel in Gaza ignites a wider regional conflict involving other Palestinian territories and further clashes between Israel and Islamist militant groups in Lebanon and Syria. Guess what just happened the other day? The Lebanese, Hezbollah, they are threatening the United States. They're threatening us with attacks here on U.S. soil. Well, things aren't going to get any better, because just today, again, keep in mind that Hezbollah is backed by Iran. Hamas is backed by Iran. Guess who else is? The Houthis out of Yemen. Well, this is where it gets very interesting, because the United States launched another attack just one day after a very broad attack in Yemen. So now the United States launched a new attack, and this was the United States doing this on their own. There was no allies. This was just the United States. According to reports, the destroyer USS Carney fired a Tomahawk cruise missile at the radar facility. This is going to pretty much stop the Yemen Houthis from being able to see where people are at, where ships are going through. Again, that's a problem. Now, there's a couple other issues as well. Now, this is just tier 1, okay? Now, I wanted to show you this really quick, because again, this is just tier 1. Tier 2 is down here. There's some other issues with Turkey, Iraq, Yemen, Egypt, China, India border, right? The Philippines, South China Sea, Russia, obviously, that's tier 2. And then you got tier 3 down here. Now, this is the only one that I'll just talk about, is just Haiti, because obviously you got a bunch of different ones over here as well. But Haiti, because this is so close to the United States, says international stabilization efforts in Haiti fail to reduce violence and insecurity, accelerating state collapse. Okay, but it's a moderate likelihood, and the impact is very low. All right, so that's where things are at right now. The one thing I just want to reiterate, though, is that the biggest concern right now, according to the FBI and Homeland Security, is the threats here on U.S. soil. All right, that's the biggest one. It's this right here. The growing political polarization in the United States, particularly around the 2024 presidential election, leads to acts of domestic terrorism and political violence. That's where we're at. So I just wanted to give you this warning. Now, this is just a survey, okay? And so the majority of people believe that is the highest likelihood, and that's going to be the biggest impact. Keep in mind, this presidential election, as we get closer, the intensity of these potential attacks, the threats, the severity of this increases. That's at least according to the FBI and Homeland Security. So keep in mind, this is something that they are anticipating. This is something that the FBI has said that they are looking into. They're investigating all these different threats, whether it's in person or online. They're looking at all these things. So just keep that in mind. That is currently where we're at. That's where we stand. But as I know any more information, I promise I'll come back on. I'll fill you in with all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.